everyone, this is P4L. In today's P4L review, we'll be taking an early look at Fans Hobby's MB-05 Flypro, their version of a masterpiece monster bot Grotusque, which I don't really know much about monster bots, and this is actually only the second figure I ever actually experienced from Fans Hobby, the first being their arch enemy. So this is a real delight. So this is a test shot sample for review, a pre-production sample. It seems final, and this was available at TFcon Toronto 2017, and Toy Dojo was able to secure one for me to review for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. Packaging review, we're not really going to go into much. I mean, he does come in a big cardboard box with a sticker. He does come with a nice clamshell, button style clamshell with a lot of nice plastic film to protect the paint, and chrome on this guy, which is nice. Some other third-party companies do that, some don't, and I know a lot of people have had problems with paint issues in the past because of that, so I'm glad that they're doing that. So good on you, Fans Hobby. So as I said, there's not really much to talk about in terms of packaging, but he does come with a little, and I don't know if this is a final version, but it's basically two stapled pieces of paper, one-sided paper, which are the instructions, as well as some information about the extras that they give you. And they give you a lot, and when I'm talking about a lot, I mean a lot. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of these flame effects. One for him, 2 for Fei Long, their previous double cross release. They have one for their, what's his name? The Megatooth. Their, I'm blanking on his name. Again, I don't really know monster bots all that well. Repugnus, that's who it was. And in addition to that, so 2 are obviously for Fei Long because he has 2 dragon heads. They also have additional faces. So these 2 sets of faces, one is kind of a teeth gritting one. Maybe I'll take it out a little bit later. And another one is like a smirking one for Flypro. For Fei Long, he has a smirking face, bottom half of the face, and then like a yelling one. And then another crest for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Again, I don't have that figure, so I don't really know why you would need another one. Fei Long also gets a set of fists, so optional fists that you can plug into his dragon mouths, so that he has fists in robot mode, or I guess in monster mode if you want as well. And then lastly for Megatooth, his robot mode also has kind of a smirky face, some additional eyes, and a teeth gritting face. I'm not going to open all these because these aren't mine. I will go ahead and open this and show this off to you guys in a little bit. And it's very easy to install. They're all just screws on the back of the head, essentially. So that's really it for what's included. A lot of that is stuff that's not specifically for Flypro. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep the stuff that's for Flypro for now. And then everything else we'll just put off to the side. So, getting started with actual robot mode review, let's take a look at his accessories. First being his double barrel blaster, which secures very nicely. It uses that kind of like back slot rail configuration, so it has a little slot in the back of the hand, like right around here, and it slides in and holds it really well, much more secure than a tabbing mechanism, which I like. I think they did this before with their arch enemy and their prime or whatever. So very nice. It is just one molded kind of silvery, shimmery gray plastic. It may have some paint details here, some subtle black or dark gray charcoal paint details. He also comes with the flame effects. The way this works is that you have this kind of oblong like tab here, and then you have this optional additional piece which pegs into that itself. The pieces themselves are a nice translucent orange. So one of the things I was going to say is I don't know much about this company. I think they may be related to Gigapower, just because the overall quality and feel and like the way they finish their figures seems very similar, including these flame effects. So I don't know, you guys might know more than I do, but the overall feels very much like Gigapower. So if you haven't experienced the Fans Hobby, but you've have experienced Giga Power, I think you'll know what I'm talking about in terms of overall quality, which is good. It was good quality. The plastic feels nice and chunky. It also kind of reminds me of like fans projects plastic, like their Dinobots, their Lost Exo Realm. Kind of feels like that, maybe a little bit better. And then the overall design and transformation is fairly simple with this company, but it reminds me a lot of Fans Project's Function and X line, which is kind of fun. So I'm kind of digging this, even though I don't have any love for the monster bots. So let's just do a quick 360 in robot mode. And this guy's, all their figures are really beefy and chunky. Like this guy is like really thick, and again, it kind of screams Giga Power to me. Nice big wings. He does have the monster head like on the backpack here. And he has some kibble with the monster foot claws and his tail split in half. But overall, given how chunky this guy looks, it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look that bad. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at his face. And you can see his stock face is just kind of a straight, almost like frowny face. He has that kind of weird, almost like monkey mouth protrusion. I should really have opened this before, but let me go ahead and open the other faces now. So the one face is the smirky face that I mentioned before, which looks like this. And the other one is a teeth gritting face, which looks like this. And as I said, to install them, you really just need to separate the front and the back with a Phillips head. I don't know why I even bother showing this off sometimes, because they're pretty self-explanatory. But go ahead and unscrew all this, and then you will have to pop out the eyes. So just be careful when you're doing that, because it is nicely chromed. Oops. And you may lose it like I just did. And we'll go ahead and put it in the, let's put in the teeth gritty one. Go ahead and just put that back in here at the front of the face like so. Plug it all back in. And if you were successful with your screwdriver skills, you're all done. Yeah, so the monster bot thing, I think the scowling one makes the most sense to me. But it looks quite nice. Let's talk about articulation while we're here. He has a head on a ball joint. Nicely done. He actually has some down. Because of the molding here, you rarely get figures that actually can look down, especially once as beefy as this. He does have butterfly shoulder joints. And I think this guy is a retool of their Fei Long. Again, I haven't experienced Fei Long, but it looks like it from pictures, and I haven't looked at any reviews, but I would venture a guess that it is. But it's cool to have this kind of unique butterfly joint. You can kind of have them hunched forward or backwards. Nice clicky ratchets on the shoulders. Swivel around the shoulder like that. He does have outward shoulder articulation there. A bicep swivel. A ratcheted elbow joint, single ratcheted elbow joint. He has a bit of a wrist swivel, but that's really for transformation. You can see it goes like this. And then a wrist swivel on the post. And then he has MP10 style hands, which mean no articulation on thumb. The ring, pinky, and middle finger are all in one molded piece. And then the pointer finger has 2 points of articulation. And they're pinned into place, so you won't have the same issues as MP10. He does have a waist swivel, and one thing I want to note is that they don't make it really clear, but you can actually expand and collapse the chest, so you can have it a little bit shorter, a little bit taller. The reason why this exists is that you can see these tabs here. That when you collapse it, it keeps the waist from swiveling, and that's for monster mode. But you could do that if you like the proportions a little bit better, if you want it a little bit stockier. He does have like small ball joints here on the hip skirts. He has some ratchets going out. A little bit softer than I might like personally, but they're okay. These are nice. Forward and back feel really nice. A thigh swivel. a knee bend. He can actually get a lot more if you like open up the back of his leg. It's for transformation, but you can get, it's gonna all fold into the leg. So theoretically, it could do 180 degrees, I suppose. But due to the way it's transformed, you only get about 45 degrees in robot mode. He has some shin skirt kind of things that can allow you to get the foot, or actually almost like the ankle, the way it works, to go a little bit more forward. I think that's the only reason it exists. So yeah, the big joint is in here. Just kind of like his ankle, way up high in here. It's on a ratchet. And then it's also on a set of double hinges, but that's for transformation as well. So it should stay tabbed in like this for robot mode, and really just get forward and back. He has his monster heel on the back, which is ratcheted. I guess you can extend it out for more stability if you'd like, but really he's not meant to. He has foot here, so he has ball joints that allows him to pivot a bit and rotate forward and backwards at this lower joint. I will mention there is die cast. This whole piece here is die cast, as well as the outer part of this foot. So a lot of die cast in the feet themselves. I think that's the only place where he might have die cast. Did I miss anything? Oh, obviously the wings. So the wings swivel here at the base and are on a pin joint that let them go back outwards like that. And then 2 additional pins here. I would have liked a little bit more range here. This is as far as you can get with either of these joints this way. And the other way, you can only get this one straight and this one slightly like this. I would have liked it if they allowed you to curl this around and maybe have it almost like cloaky-ish. A little bit more to go around the shoulders. But I guess that was asking a little too much. They are quite wide though, which is nice. So no real major complaints there. I like how you can angle them really high up off camera. And they do have some paint details. As far as paint, he does have quite a bit of paint. Like here on the chest, 2 types of blue, some tampoed, like weird symbols across here, here. And I guess this, I don't know if this is molded red or painted red. It looks like it might be painted red. Oh yeah, it is painted red. Oh, there's actually a paint error here. So this is only on the face. Well, this is on the entire side piece as well. Same thing on this. So I guess they're mirrored pieces, so maybe that's why. Ah, okay, so I think this is an actual piece that plugs in here and probably covers up the screw, and this is actually molded in the shoulder itself. That's probably why. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent. But overall, I think the build quality and overall paint applications and everything that they have here are quite nice. The only chrome that he has are on the eyes, both the robot and monster, as well as the monster teeth. And again, the look of this reminds me a lot of Gigapower. Alright, so I think that's it for robot mode, aside from some comparisons. So let's just get him standing somewhat straight. And the only real comparison I'm going to do, just because I'm feeling lazy today, is MP10. It's a little bit shorter than MP10. And I have really no idea how big he should be. I guess the only other one I can do, just because I have them, is the Mass Toy Skiff. Or I guess this is the Volk, but the Skiff mold. So this is the size of MP Bumblebee. So you get an idea of how tall he is. Oh, actually one other figure that I'll go ahead and bring out, just because I don't know why I have him, but here's Perfect Effect Primal. And these actually feel kind of similar in terms of overall look, feel, and build quality. Although I think this has a little, his joints are a little looser than I would like overall. Speaking of Gorilla, I think his joints are a little bit looser than I would like overall. But yeah, that's really it for robot mode. We already talked about the gun that plugs in. There's no real other place that I found that you can actually store this. So let's go ahead and get into transformation, which is very simple, but I like it. It's pretty basic. So the first thing I like to do is just go ahead and deal with the head. So the head uses an interesting mechanism. It folds down as you would expect, but there's a fold away cover here so that when you put the head in, it hides in there, but when you have it in, you don't have a big gap there in robot mode. I don't know if that was wholly necessary, but it's actually kind of nice that they did it. And that tab's in here, and this big tab in the front. Let's just get the wings out the way for now. With the arms, you just go ahead and pull up on the fist, and it opens up the front part of the forearm. You do have to rotate the fist just to get the thumb out of the way. It can be really any other orientation except straight up like that. So let's just go like this, swivel this around, and then close it up. And then the monster claws are on a kind of a sliding joint here. So just pull on this. Come on. There we go. You can see there's little divots as stopping points, and then you pull out the fist to tab in here. And then you have the individual claws or fingers. Same thing on this side. Let's just go like this way just so you can see that you can really do any orientation. And there you have the upper body pretty much done. So if you want to have a weird robot monster hybrid mode, you can do that. The lower body, you're going to have to rotate all the way around at the waist 180 degrees. Dealing with the legs, come to the back. Go ahead and just kind of straighten out these legs for now. And I think we're going to have to pull this like this. So this piece ends up being like the heel support here. Okay, I'm gonna flip this up, flip this open, spread the legs out a little bit like so. Get this untabbed here and around, and it's on a double hinge, so you're gonna expand it and collapse it the other way. So you extend it out and collapse it and tap it in the other way. And then, as you would expect, the legs are gonna kind of just fold in onto themselves. Just be careful with the clearances. You're going to close this back up, get the hip skirt out of the way before you fold this down. And then this will actually come back on top, but let's go ahead and collapse the waist before we do that. So same thing on the other side, just get the legs split out. Get this through and in. Hopefully I'm on camera, I haven't been paying attention. Flip this up. And then you're just gonna have both tail pieces folded on themselves and tabbed together with the rest of the leg. There we go. And lastly, like I said before, go ahead and collapse the upper and lower body and make sure it tabs in here. That secures it, and then you just pull down on these hip skirts, and they have like kind of molded areas where they're supposed to reside. And there we go. We have Flypro in his monster mode. Kind of goofy looking. I don't really know, again, much about the monster mode, so I don't know how quote-unquote accurate this is. It looks pretty good, though. Very simple, but fairly satisfying transformation. Articulation-wise, well, actually, let's compare him with some other animal modes. Here he is with Grimlock, MP Grimlock. This is the 8X version. That's why he's all shiny. And then, because it's me, let's go ahead. Bring out MP Streak. So he's about 1.5 MP Streaks long, and then, I don't know, 4 or 5 MP Streaks tall in alt mode. The benefit of alt mode here, though, I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, is that articulation-wise, you get more range with the wings because the head's out of the way. So you get to rotate a bit more, which is nice. One thing I would have liked is if you had the flame effects and if they could tab in here into these thrusters in the back. I think that is a missed opportunity, but oh well. it would have been good because given that these have pegs anyways, if they just made a peg hole there, that would have been a really nice addition. I also don't know what these things are. I guess maybe I thought you could maybe plug this in, but I have no idea why these holes exist whatsoever. I mean, they look like weapon storage of some kind, but again, this doesn't plug in here. It plugs in up here, where it has a little peg hole as well as a little slot for the handle piece. Articulation wise, he has a really big ball joint at the head, which gives him a good amount of range. He does have a hinged mouth, and way back here, that's where you go ahead and plug this in. I found that you can only plug it in one orientation for this guy at least. But you can get that in, you can get some flame effects going on. And since they're two separate pieces, you can rotate this to however you'd like. All the arm stuff is the same. The only difference here is that he has ball jointed fingers or claws, talons, but because they're so tight together, you don't actually get to use much of the ball jointedness of them. It's really just kind of a hinge feel to it in terms of operation. Again, because of the way that the tabbing system works, he loses his waist articulation, but if you go ahead and just extend that, you still can use it. Leg-wise, he has rotational joints here. Again, you can kind of mistransform him and get some outward leg articulation, or even pull it back a bit more into the pseudo robot mode orientation to get it to sit back further. But really, it's supposed to be up here. The foot joint, the ball joint that was a foot for robot mode, now becomes his knee. I wish there were some outward movement on the thigh because this is pretty limited, I find. And then the foot is ratcheted, as I mentioned before. The toes themselves are not individually articulated, but you do have this piece here, which was part of the foot that moves. Again, die cast in the lower legs. Now the shins and this heel piece make them fairly stable. So I think that's it for articulation. Wings are the same. I keep finding that the two halves keep on tabbing more than I would like. So I think that's it for alt mode or monster mode. I think it does a pretty good job. Again, more paint here in these places, more blue paint that you see in this mode. But let's go ahead and transform him back really quickly and then finish off with final thoughts. Let's go ahead and pull this off. First thing we'll do is untab the two halves of the lower body. Flip these hip skirts open. Oh, actually, we should extend the upper and lower body if you've done that already. If you haven't done that already, sorry. Just flip these down, flip these open. Remember to split the legs just a tiny bit, so this all clears. Once you have all this kind of mess going on, let's go ahead and deal with that. So let's go ahead and do the leg first, or what will become the foot. And have that rotated like this. This heel piece will fold back around like so, and this claw piece will fold back on itself as much as possible, making use of that double hinge and that joint. You're gonna go ahead and do that. And this kind of just sits, this flap just kind of sits in place. Tail comes out like this, and the foot's just in position. Same thing on this side. Like so. Untab this piece and rotate it around, flip it around to the other side. Close this up, back the leg up, tail down. Now, waist, 180 degrees. Arms, fold down the claw piece and slide it back. Open the fist or forearm, rotate out the fist. Close it back up. Repeat and rinse and repeat on the other side. Repeat and rinse. What are you thinking? Have you never showered before? Alright. And then lastly, I'll form the head. Flip that out. And again, this piece kind of rotates out by itself, which is nice. Kind of auto transforms. With that, we have Flypro back in robot mode. So, final thoughts on this guy. I think he's actually pretty fun. I'm pretty impressed with Fans Hobby in terms of overall build quality and look. You gotta have to like the chunky aesthetic of it all, but if you do, these guys might be the company for you. They're using the molds pretty well, I think. More obscure kind of characters, monster bots obviously. I don't have a love for them, so I probably won't collect them, but it was really nice to be able to take a look at them and share my opinions of them with you. I think for $120 or $130, I'm not really sure how much it's going for, but I think it's a pretty good value overall. And if you want this guy for your collection, go ahead and click on the Toy Dojo link in the description below. If you have any questions though, or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comment section as always, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. With that said, that's it for today's review, early preview. Again, this is the pre-production sample, so there are things that might change, but by and large, I think this is pretty much ready for store shelves. Alright, that's all for today, everyone. Have a good one.